Hi guys, good morning. Sorry for the delay. Yesterday we are discussing about tab navigation. So do you have any questions in this concept? My screen is visible to you. Okay. Pattern exception, main process, user registration, PID 1912, illegal state exception, could not execute method for Android column on click. Okay. Sarfraj Khan, can you share your code with me? I can see that like in the file where you are getting the error, just share that code. Thank you, Akansha, for responding. Okay. Meanwhile, we have seen how this tab mediator works. We have also seen how this adapter works. And we know that each individual fragment can hold its own design. So I'm going to simply do a calculator design on fragment green. First, I'd like to change this to linear layout. Now, the orientation has to be set. The orientation I'm setting it to vertical. I'm removing this background color, which I don't like. So I'm going to create edit text boxes, set the width to match parent, height to wrap content. All right. So you can have the input type set to number because it is a calculator. Okay. So in the similar way, I want to have another edit text box, a very simple calculator app, I would say, just to make you understand that we can still give more designs. I mean, you can give your own design for any fragment. Just to explain this thing, I'm taking this example. Okay. Now provide a hint on both the edit text boxes. Enter a number. Enter a number. Let us also copy this, paste it in this edit text box. Sorry. We should copy this thing and paste it. ID number one. Copy. This is number two. Now we'll have a few operators. Okay. Button. Set the width to wrap content, height to wrap content. So all this should be in linear layout of horizontal orientation. Set it to match parent wrap content. It should have an ending tag, and I will have the ending tag after the first button. Okay. This orientation of this layout can be set to horizontal. Right. So here I will place all the buttons that I require. Sorry. One, two, three, four. Four buttons I need. All right. So the code is very clumsy. When the code is clumsy, it is not readable later on. That is the reason. What are we supposed to do? We are supposed to rearrange the code appropriately. So how do we rearrange this code, which is already being here? Simply, you can do Control Alt and O. Oh, sorry. Control Alt and L. Okay, I forgot the shortcut. It is Control Alt and L, and your code would be rearranged appropriately. If you do not remember the shortcut, go to code and hit on reformat code. Or Control Alt and L will also work for you. If you are using a Mac, Command Option and L will work. If I'm not wrong, please check code and reformat code. You'll have a shortcut on the right hand side. Now these buttons should have IDs, right? So the ID of this button is plus. So the second button should have an ID, and that is minus. Oh, shit. The third button should have an ID, product, The fourth button should have another ID. Divide. Okay, that is sufficient. Now display text on all these buttons. Text is plus here, and in here it is minus, and in here it is X, and in here it is divide. Okay, nice. So I'd like to give weight attribute value to 1 on all the buttons. Sorry, don't cut it, copy. So weight attribute to 1, you can arrange all the items on the layout. Appropriately will be arranged. Nice. Every item is having good space. Also, I will give margin as nice. So the design is fantastic to look at. Even if you rotate the screen, the buttons are going to align themselves appropriately. See? So to display the result, okay, to display the results about the operations that we do, I need a text view also. So after the end of the inner linear layout, I'll have a text view. Set the width to match parent, height to wrap parent, close the text view, give it an ID. So the ID is @ plus ID slash results. Okay. Also, I don't want to display the text to the user, but still write Android colon text. The text that I give for Android colon text will be displayed to the user. The reason why do we need this tools colon text is you don't want to display the default text to the user, but still you want to see the preview how your text is being formatted. So I can give the text size. I can write TS that gives me text size and make it as 50 bits, sorry, 50 SP. Text color, I'd like to choose it to black, and text gravity, sorry, gravity attribute value, you set it to the center. Nice. This is good. Just because tools colon text, this text will not be displayed, guys. Please do remember that point. Okay. Now for these two edit text boxes, what I'd like to do is I'd like to do weight attribute value to 1 on both these edit text boxes. Just to make it a nice design. Okay. For this weight layout also, I'll give weight like this. And gravity, I'll make it as a center. No, not layout gravity is gravity. Okay, background color, you can leave it like that. You'll have blocks. And this text view also you can have manage, you can have it getting occupied to one part of the screen design. Okay, this closely looks like a um, it is closely looking like a calculator. However, it is not the exact calculator, I would say. I'm just taking it as an example, for an example. So now we have this design. So if you run the application, the same design you would also be able to see when the green fragment comes up. All right. So it's running. If I hit on green, I get to see this design where this one will give me a number pad and these clicks will give me the result. Okay. So how do we get this design into action? That is the next step. So we have IDs for all the attributes that we are using, plus, minus, product, divide, okay, and also results. You can head to the fragment class uh, project, red fragment. Okay, you have design in green fragment. How can you write code in red fragment? Funny, right? You can go here, hit here, and you'll get to green fragment. So here, whatever we have, you can create them as variables. Edit text. We have two edit text boxes, number one or num1 and num2. We have four buttons. So button uh, plus minus product plus minus multiply and divide. And we also have a text view. Text view, not texture view, is text view. TV is text view. Result. Now connect all of these in the on create view, because only in the on create view we get to see that the inflation is happening. So instead of returning this inflator.inflate, what we will do is we will have an object called view B. We will return it finally. In between this, we write the logic. Simple, right? So first connect the objects. Num1 is equal to view dot find view by ID r dot id dot number one. Similar for num2. So it is num2 and it is also num2. In a similar way, connect plus to plus button. P is equal to view dot fbb r dot id dot plus. Similar way, connect minus m is equal to fbb. Sorry, fbb. Okay, 2 dot fbb r dot id dot minus. Connect multiply move to view dot find v by id r dot id dot multiply. Okay, product. Divide is equal to u dot fbb r dot id dot divide. You're done. Finally, result has to be connected. Result is equal to u dot fbb r dot id dot results. Okay, fine. So when this button is pressed, you have on click event handler. Set on click listener. Okay, v and then brackets. Sufficient. I'm directly using Lambda, guys. Don't get confused. I'm implementing on-click listener directly. In the similar way, you can have another three instances of the same and change the object here. This is minus m. This is multiplication mul, and this is divide b. So you write the same logic here. Whatever the logic is there, you write the same logic. Okay. So you get the data first. So integer n1 is equal to num1 dot get text dot to string. Okay. Int n2 is equal to num2 dot, or you can actually copy the same. Why do you waste time? And instead of num1 here, you say num2. So copy these two lines and paste it on all the methods. Because the operator will only change, the result is the same, isn't it? So when plus is clicked, what do we do? Result dot set text dot string dot value of n1 plus n2. Right? Similar way, you copy the same line, put it on all methods. However, change the operator. So here it is into, which is star one, and here it is divide, which is an operator. Now run the application, and we should see the result. The app is up and running. I give 23 here. I give 23 what? And I give 2. 23 plus 2 is 25. 23 minus 2 is 21. 23 into 2 is 46. And 23 divided by 2 should yield 11. Nice, no? You can play with it easily. So this is how you can get a fragment into action. Okay? On a simple level, this is how you do it. Okay? So instead of writing so much of code, is there any chance of reducing it? Instead of writing on click listener, what you can do is on click listener, you can say this make green fragment implement on the event handler. Okay. Now you do this to all other on click event handlers. This you can remove. You write this. Also, this you can remove. Write this. This also you can remove. Write this. Okay. There is only one on click event handler. So you write a switch case. Switch V. So before you write a switch case, these two will not change, isn't it? These two will not change. You can cut them here, paste it here. Now you can remove the rest of the code and write this. Okay. So now you'll have a switch. Switch based on v dot get item ID or get ID. So if the case is r dot id dot plus, you add these two numbers and put the result to the result. So you'll have another variable here, integer result r is equal to 0. By default, it is 0. Now this r is equal to n1 plus n2. Break it. If the case is r dot, sorry, r dot id dot minus, you write r is equal to n1 minus n2. Correct. The case is r dot id dot product. R is equal to n1 into n2. Break. The case is r dot id dot divide. R is equal to n1 by n2. Break it. Break it. Finally, after coming out of the switch, you must be having some data into this R. So you can set it on top of the text field. So result dot set text string dot value of R. That's it. You can run the app now, and probably you should see the same result. Green, I'll enter 2 here. Sorry, I'll enter 5 here or 6. So let us take an even number. I'll enter 3 here. If I hit on plus, I should get 9 minus 3 into 18 divided by 2. So you're making it simple, making it too simple by implementing on-click listener. Just like you do it for the activity, right? No much difference observed, isn't it? Yeah. So I hope you can also implement different designs for red and blue fragments also. Correct? Say yes if you understand this. Otherwise, you can say no. Any repetitions needed, guys? Any doubts in here? So the limitation of the fragment is without an activity, it cannot be hosted. Like only if you have an activity, it can be hosted. Fragments are basically fragments gives you the modularity of your design. You can modularize your design and put it into different fragments. There are advantages only. Disadvantages are there. Um, if you are using a fragment, you must be managing both the activity and the fragment life cycles. Okay. Yeah. No, Akansha. If you want to communicate between fragments, you are supposed to use the arguments. So there is this the I'll show you that example. Okay? I'll show you that example. So let me close this project. Into the official documentation, fragments and developers. Why can't I use the same example? Why should I take a new one? So upon clicking on one fragment, let us take our user to the other fragment or the next fragment. Okay. Let the official documentation load and we will try our hands on. So in the fragments, we have fragment communication, right? Communicate between fragments and activities. Now, communication between two fragments. Saving scale, communicate between fragments and activities. Correct. So you can share the data using a view model or share data with the host activity. No, that is not what we want. Share data between fragments. This is what we want. So two or more fragments in the same activity often need to communicate with each other. For example, imagine one fragment that displays a list and another that allows the user to apply various filters to the list. Okay, so using view model, he explained very well. Using view model, we can do it. We all know this concept. Parent and child fragment, no. So copying a view model to the navigation graph. All right, we'll ask Google. Like, clicking on one fragment, clicking on button on one fragment should take us to another fragment in the tabbed activity, in the tab navigation. So this is how we can do. Raj, a fragment from an activity. No, not from an activity. I want it from a fragment. One fragment, another fragment, tab navigation. No, this is easy. No, this is what we did already. This is we did already. This is quite easy. Let us try this out. It's quite easy. Let us say you have a button on red fragment. You can have a button on red fragment. I will say, take me to blue fragment. Text is take me to blue fragment. Okay. I don't think this will also work. Okay, we define an interface. This is for navigation bar. Navigation bar. Right. For our- Okay. So I'll come up with an example. Let us not confuse you. I'll come up with a better example in the next session. Right. We'll see how to communicate between a fragment and a fragment. Right. Using bundle. Using bundle. Right. So tomorrow we do not have a session, guys. I'm going on a very important work to a nearby village. So the day after tomorrow, which means on Monday. We have the class directly on Monday because this is Thursday. Tomorrow I'm going to a different village. I'll be coming back on Sunday. So we'll have it on Monday. Okay. Right. Thank you so much. That's all for the day. I wanted to pick up another example, but unfortunately came back to the same method. That's fine. I'll pick up an example on Monday. I'll show you the fragment communication. So please explore the other important layouts we have. So when you create a new project, we implemented tabbed activity, right? We implemented tabbed activity. Try to implement navigation drawer activity. Take that as an assignment. So in navigation drawer, you get to implement lot of fragments. You get to load a lot of fragments. Okay. On mm, on Monday, we will have a keen look into navigation drawer activity. Okay. We'll see how to implement it from scratch. Meanwhile, if you want to try, please try this one. There are many tutorials out there. You can rely on many of those tutorials. You can get the information and do it. Otherwise, I will also explain. I will explain this navigation drawer activity along with fragments and communicating between them on Monday. Right. Thank you.